Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks for bearing with me here on the little schedule change. I appreciate it, and I want to make sure we got it in this week. So we are in our final week here, which is awesome and sad at the same time that we're not going to be with each other. But the cool thing is this is one of my favorite conversations that we get to have, which is about building your brand, right? This is really about marketing and recruiting to your vision. If you really understand this, right, is what is marketing, what is recruiting to your vision. But before we jump in today, again, I'd like to bring something that we've been kind of reading into your lives to kind of help enrich you from a different angle. One of the articles that we've been throwing around, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, Hallie will throw it in the base camp for you guys, but it's the 40-70 rule. And hopefully, guys, how many people have heard it? Raise your hands kind of in the car if you are, but raise your hand if you have. Interesting, the 40-70 rule is from former Secretary of State Colin Powell. And he came up with this, and he said leaders should be making a decision when they have between 40 and 70% of the information that they needed. So I want you guys to think about this, between 40 and 70% of information. And when you're making decisions that have less than 40% of information, you could be making the wrong decision, right? But you could be making the wrong decision that don't fully address the problem. They're lingering things that have effect. Remember, your job as a leader is to provide clarity, right? One of the emails that I sent to our team over the weekend was, you as a CEO, as an owner, and by the way, I say owner, I say CEO as a leader. You could be leading a division, you could be leading one person. No matter who you're leading in your life, you should be approaching this from a situation where your job is a traffic cop. Right? You're the traffic director in a way, if you want to think of this. And there's a stoplight out there. Your job is to make sure that flow of traffic, that flow of communication is constantly going. It's when things get jammed up constantly is when there starts to become issues in your life. Issues from pendings, issues from not money, issues from not having clarity. So your job as a traffic director, as somebody who's running an organization, is to make sure the flow of information is constantly, you're the traffic, you're getting the energy to go as fast as possible to the next route that it needs to. You may have to build an alternative, you may have to build a bridge, you may have to get a new light in there, you have to put a stop sign, a roundabout. You're constantly changing these things every day to make sure that traffic doesn't get jammed up. Your goal is to prevent the traffic from getting jammed up as much as you can, but if you can't, then what are you doing to ensure every single day that traffic continues to flow? So think about that from your leadership standpoint. In the 40-70 rule, there's really a two-part approach to decision making, right? The first part is you analyze your percentages, and that's why when you really look at that 40 to 70 range, as Colin Powell puts it, it gives you enough information that you can make an educated decision, but not too much information so you're procrastinating or losing customers, which can be the downside for trying to get to 100% information. So when you're between that 40 and 70% rule based on the decision. So again, some other decisions when you make a decision, some other impacts when you make less than 40, when you have less than 40%, simply the wrong decision could have been avoided before you acquired it. Uneducated choices that may have seemed good for the business but were too hastily made to address the needs of customers or clients or your people. The other consequences for making a decision, we have more than 70% of information, right? Lost customers due to impatience, employees who had to do unnecessary damage control waiting for your decision, right? Lost revenue from dwindling sales, implications from faulty products that you didn't pull from shelves, right? Again, this is an article talking about different things, but think about this in your own business, in your own life. Are you somebody who has 10% and shoots and is constantly making decisions that could have been made different if you just gathered a little bit more information? Or are you somebody who has 99% of information and it's really tough to even make a decision then? It's that 40 to 70% rule is what I really want you to focus on. And then you bring that two-part approach into it, which is part one is analyzing your percentages, and then part two is trusting your gut, right? And I know it's that gut, and we've heard that like give up thinking what it is, which is why the first part about it is your probabilities, giving as much information as you can, and then from there, you're getting all this flow of information. That's why the traffic has to continue to go. You're grabbing all this information as your job, and then you make the best decision that you can based on that information, wherever that falls and that percentage is, and you trust that gut of whatever it is that you're doing it. I thought it was a really cool little article that we had in there, so I wanted to bring that up to you guys. That's the 40-70 rule. So don't make a decision with 10%. Don't make a decision with 90%. Look for that 40 to 70% range and execute. That's the goal of what you want you to do here. Keep that traffic flowing as smooth as possible. All right, so marketing, recruiting to your vision. So here's the thing that I want you guys to think about when you're marketing and you're recruiting to your vision, you have to understand that this is the most important part of recruiting and leveraging and getting talent in your life. If you want to take territory, if you want to build a business, if you want to succeed through other people, it hinges on your ability to hire the best people in the world. So what are you doing? Who are you becoming that causes people that want to follow you, right? How do people want to follow you? Why do people want to work for your organization? If you think about it, like Google or Apple, if any one of those executives said, hey, I want to talk to you right now, and in an hour I'd love to have a phone call with you guys, and I'm from Google, you'd instantly go, oh, that's awesome. I'd love to have the phone call, see what it is, see what's there, right? You would give the opportunity that's up there. Part of that is because Apple and Google and those type of companies have built such a brand that people are throwing themselves to go work for these organizations. And if you think even locally, like a new company that started up, or maybe it's a tech company, maybe it's a non-tech company, but they have really good culture and you hear about their brand, they're doing a really good job from that. That also reinforces the brand for your employees that are with you now. You have to understand that. So you're constantly doing it for attracting talent, but you're also doing and building your brand and your marketing and you're casting that vision for the people that are currently in your organization as well too. And that's a really important thing. So what are you doing every day to cause people to want to be led by you? That's what you should be answering. How do you add so much value to somebody's life? Why do they want to be around you? What value are you bringing to them? You should be building out a 1-3-5, right? We all know the 1 strategic goal, your 3 strategies, and your 5 tactics around your brand. How many people have a 1-3-5 around their brand? It's okay if you don't. Just start with something. What are you going to do? What is your brand going to be about? What's your voice going to be? That's the most important thing here, is having a voice. You see too many people that are unwilling to take a voice, and so what happens is when you start getting people in your organization, you have one person on the left side of the voice, and the right side of the voice, and the middle of the voice, and you have you're not sharing the same culture that you have, and that's why you have cultural conflicts, because you as the leader or leading the division or whatever it is haven't shared your voice. So what are you doing every day that causes people to be led by you, right? They want to follow you for what reason? What's your brand? What's your vision? What's your marketing going to be around these things? And so in how you start building a brand, I just want you to understand it's really, really important that you build this brand around here and create your voice with it. It keeps your people and attracts the best. So this is really the 8-step process, if you will, for building out your vision and your brand. And we're going to jump into this today, but this is the fundamentals. So when you go back, take a screenshot of this slide or whatever it is, or write these down as we go through them. I'm going to go through each one. This should be how you start building out your 1-3-5. This should be bringing awareness to your life of, okay, how do I become the Google of real estate? How do I become the Amazon of real estate? Think about it. Just to submit a resume to Google, you have to break a code. Wouldn't that be awesome? See, you're accepting resumes and you have 100,000 resumes coming in every single week, so that you have to have people break a code to see if they qualify for that. Sports teams spend so much time in their brand and their advertising. They're building the brand. Why do players want to work for them? Why do players want to go play for them, right? Why do people want to go play for your team, right? So I want you to get very clear on this. Remember, communication, you're the traffic director, you're making sure the flow of information is moving through here. So number one, what values do you have, right? Meaning, like, what true values do you have? What do you value? Do you value hard work? Do you value physical fitness? Do you value time with your family? Do you value ethics? Do you value trustworthiness? Right? Write down things that you're really valuing here that align with your vision and brand. But it's really important that you get clear, and I'm talking about you first. Because if you're not clear on why somebody should join your organization, i.e. meaning what value they're going to get from being here, then you're never going to attract the type of people that you want. In order to attract those type of people, it's like when you want to attract sellers who want to sell and have an actual desire to sell, right? They have to move for their house, they have building in their house, they have a reason they're definitely going to sell. And you get one of those listings, you're like, man, they're going to sell because they have to. How do you get those people in your life? So get clear on your vision and brand. What values are you providing? What value are you providing to other people in your organization? What is it through training? I'm just giving you guys some ideas. I'm trying to be a little redundant on this so you hear it differently when I approach it with you, because I want you guys to get clear on this, right? So what value are you doing? Training, Are you, providing a coach for them on all aspects of their life, whether it's transformational, whether it's a productivity coach, whether it's a physical coach, whether it's a spiritual coach? What kind of training are you bringing to them? Are you providing leads to them? Are you providing training, tactical and mindset training? Or what value is it that you're doing, that you're bringing to them? So just think about what it is and write it out as to what value you can bring to them. Number two, what's your purpose for this, right? What is it about your purpose of bringing value, about bringing things to people's lives that you can generate for them, right? What is your mission behind this, right? Ours transforming lives through home ownership. But what's the purpose behind your vision and your brand, right? What is it going to do? What purpose is it that somebody's going to come in there so they can see if, okay, why am I going to get behind this? Again, for us, it's transforming lives through home ownership. You want to get behind transforming lives through home ownership, which the first person's life that you transform is your own. It's the people around you when you come into our organization. And if that's a purpose that you want to get behind, awesome. If it's not, awesome. But you have a voice as to what it is. Number three, what's your promise? Right? And again, the promise can go to the conversation of what is it you're going to deliver, right? It's a better way of thinking about it. What are you going to deliver to a consumer? What are you going to deliver to the people in your world? What is your brand? So when you go out there and you buy a Apple computer, you expect the Apple computer, based on their promise and their brand, to act a certain way. Or if you go and you buy Ben & Jerry's, cookie dough ice cream in Florida or in California, you expect it to taste the same, right? It's not entrepreneurial, like, hey, in Florida we're going to make this way in California. No, it's made consistently the same way, and that's your promise of what it is, that the consistency stays placed with you. What your promise is of how you're bringing that value, how you're bringing the purpose through your organization to this. So what are you promising to your people and to your clients to ensure that this is happening on a daily basis? What's your X factor, right? I think every organization needs this. Now, you've heard me say this before. I think the X factor can be people. I think a lot of it is your people, becomes your X factor. So what does that mean from there, right? You can have the best models, the best systems, the best vision, by the way, the best mission, the best tagline, the best branding. Like, it could be the coolest colors out there and hip. But if you don't have the people to execute this, then you're never going to be able to get it off the ground. I mean, there's a lot of organizations that have all of these things that you never heard about because they missed one particular thing, and that was their X factor, which for me, that's people, right? That's definitely how can you bring in these right people to be your X factor. Now, you may also have another X factor, right? For, maybe people, and also maybe, I built my own technology that has this really cool lead system that captures 1,000 leads a day, right? I'm just making it up. That could be your X factor to why people want to track to you. It could be that you have a patent. It could be that you have a different way of training people. It could be that you have market share that's 50%. It could be that you've done more transactions, you've built bigger database. It could be that you have 20,000 leads over here. And there can be an X factor based on whatever it is, based on clients and people coming to your organization. But I'm talking about getting clear on your vision and brand for why people want to come into your world. Where I see most people fall short on this is they don't understand really where they're going and why they're going there. They don't understand why. So I ask people, well, why would somebody join your organization? Right? If you ever coach me, one of the first things I ask people is like, hey, why would somebody join your organization? And they instantly go back to what they're rudimentary, what they're saying, which is like the training. And I said, well, what training do you provide? And they're like, well, how is that systematized? And you keep going down the list and you find out it's just very entrepreneurial, right? There's no system to it. There's no purpose or promise behind it that's happening every day, and most importantly is that X factor that you're missing. So I want you to determine what your X factor is. Get very clear on this. That could be your elevator pitch, your X factor alone, by the way. It's, hey, why would I join your company? Boom, this, right? That becomes your X. What is it for you? By the way, you can share it. I love to see people's X factor, right? What is that? Number 5, when you're casting a vision to your brand, to the public, who's your client, right? Is it, obviously in real estate we have a wide variety of clients, but is there a gold mine that you realize that, hey, I'm getting 80% from buyers in one particular sub area and that has 300 homes to turn over? All right, well, let's go concentrate our ideal client there, and that becomes an X factor, that becomes a purpose. How do we evolve around that? Then how do we replicate that to another area, maybe 30 minutes north, south, west, whatever area it is, and we continue to replicate that because we've gotten that model down. But what is your ideal client? Is it an investor? Do you like working with new builds? Are you a new construction guy, right? Or do you like commercial deals more? Who becomes your client? Again, you can't, I get we all want to say everybody, right? A new buyer, right? We like to think, but if you start to get clear on this, it doesn't mean you don't take a new buyer. It doesn't mean you don't take construction if you've never been in there. It doesn't mean you don't work with an investor if you never have. What I'm saying is if you can get more clear on this, it actually helps you narrow down your focus so that you can create better systems, better values, and better purpose around that, understanding who your ideal client becomes, and then ultimately becomes and makes you a better person as well too. So what are your attributes? Number 6, right? So in your attributes, what are you consistently bringing to the team? What is it, and you can get into specific language here, like what are the characteristics that you're driving here? What are the attributes of people? What are the things that you're looking for, right? What are the colors, right? And this is a big one. I mean, if you look at all like McDonald's, right, everyone still remembers like golden arches. I mean, if you think about the biggest companies, they have certain colors that match them, and the colors should speak to you. By the way, if you ever had a graphic designer do work for you, a couple of things they'll start off with and saying, hey, what words describe you? And so I would encourage you guys all to look at that as well too. What words do describe you? What are they? Are your words the type that are bold? Are they soft? I mean, that's why you're understanding who your ideal client is, so you can tailor this type of stuff to it. So again, figuring out, and that's again goes back to the beginning part of this conversation, which is understanding your voice. Because when you understand your voice, you're constantly sharing your voice. By the way, your goal should be to go out there to find the haters. Because if you don't know who your haters are, then you don't know who the people who love you are. The thing is we're all still trying to hang out in this middle zone where we're trying to love everybody. But the problem is you're never going to do that. You find me one person that has. I mean, if you look at the past presidents, not just our current one, but all of our presidencies, they've literally had about a 50% approval rating. Now, they've fluctuated maybe to 55 or 60, maybe down to 40%, but on average, they're about 50%. And part of that is if I wake up and go, you know what, President of the country has a 50% approval rating, which 50% hate him, 50% love him. By the way, there's people writing books about how bad they are. Man, when you know you've made it, when people are writing books about you, about how bad you are and how good you are. So you wake up and go, okay, well, if he's there, then I don't know why you're going to strive for that much more. The guy who runs the country or the woman who runs the country will ultimately end up having that. I mean, think about it from that angle. I remember John Davis saying in the very beginning when he took the role, he was about 33% of people love me, 33% of the people think I'm fine or they're fine with me, they could care one way or another, and 33% of people hate me. He goes, you got to be okay with that. And it's not that you don't want anybody to be hating you, but when you stand for something and you have a voice that you're clearly articulating to people, some people are just not going to like that no matter what. So you got to build the bridge and get over that, right? The traffic cop, the bridge, right? So think about your colors. Number 8, what is your vision? And look, you've probably heard vision, the word come up 17 times in the last 3 days. But let me ask you a question. Have you really thought about what your vision is? Have you written it out? I mean, to the point where you're sharing this every 5 to 7 minutes. And where that came from was Jack Welch, who is one of the greatest CEOs of all time, especially for his era. I mean, he completely disrupted an industry in a time of training, right? In the 1980s, training was starting to come through, and he really disrupted the training from that. He said afterwards that he shared his vision more than anybody else did. And he said, literally, I didn't share it enough in 5 to 7 minutes. Every 5 to 7 minutes, he tried to weave in the conversation of what their vision was of GE, right, of what it was. By the way, it's interesting about Jack Welch. He was the youngest CEO ever at that time, specifically for GE, but I think he was one of the youngest CEOs ever, and he literally jumped up like 3 or 4 ranks, and a bunch of people left when that happened. There's a whole bunch of leadership at a higher level, and he moved up from like 3 levels down, if you will, from a hierarchy standpoint, and a bunch of people left. Actually, it's the best thing that ever happened to him. I mean, look what happened to GE, and look where they are today. So sometimes you gotta understand the vision because he had that. He knew exactly what he needed to do to get the GE. Remember, when you have a vision, right, and you want to get that out there in your brand, you need to be sharing what your vision is. It should be scaring people. You want those people to go, oh, man, I love transforming lives through homeownership. I love creating a Fortune 100 company through training, innovation, technology, and thinking bigger, which is part of my vision, right, of going out there and creating this, right? You need to share this with the people around you. That's why I'm saying build your 1-3-5 using these 8 steps. And if you do that, when next time people ask you, or next time you're in an elevator, or you're at a restaurant and they have a really good waitress or waiter that comes in there, and you can say, hey, you know what? Have you ever thought about real estate? Our goal is to transform lives through home ownership. Love for you to come part of that and hear what it's about. Right? And you instantly give them somebody differently. You give them your card, or you have something else that has your colors on it and it speaks to them. That's they're either going to take it and throw it away, they're going to go, you know what, dude? It sounds good. I could get behind that. So, again, get clear on your vision and brand. Get very clear on what it is that you want to accomplish to ensure that you're getting there. And I'm going to give you guys some examples of some things that we have that we can do it. But again, so a couple other things of how to get clear on this. List all the words that describe you and your company brand. Are they in alignment? By the way, if you're an individual agent, you can do this by yourself. If you're with a team, you can do this with a team. If you want somebody else in there, grab, a couple other individual agents and pull them together, or grab some teams and kind of do this together just to get some sounding boards, or your partner, whoever it is that you need to grab in there, right? What questions do people ask you? So when you're getting clear on your vision and brand, one of the things about getting clear on you that I love, and if you've ever taken a seminar with me, you've seen this question, is I think you can tell a lot about who you are or how people perceive your brand or how people perceive you based on the questions people are asking you. Let's set in for a second. So if somebody's asking you a question of, hey, where's the best beer spot, or where's the best mountain to hike, or how do I get financially out of debt, or how did you save that much money, right? Think about the questions people are asking you. And if you don't like the answers to those, that's okay. Don't shy away from that. The thing is all I want you guys to do, we're not going to fix this for you today. We just need to bring awareness to it. And the more awareness that you can have to your vision, brand, and your legacy, right, of leaving that legacy, is getting in alignment with that and understanding where you are right now. So don't be afraid of that conversation. Don't run from that. Describe that. And again, what questions do people ask you, right? What questions do people ask you? Think about that, right? What do you want to be known for? And the thing that I would even throw onto this is, what do you want to be known for 200 years from now? Different question, right? Remember, the quality of our life is determined by the quality of questions we ask ourselves. That's really what thinking is. And we need to make sure that we're thinking properly by planting bigger and better questions into our lives. By the way, I'm going to go on a sidebar here. Has anybody read the book Outwitting the Devil? If you have, awesome. If you haven't, read it. It's by Napoleon Hill. It's an awesome book, and I'm not going to get too far in there because I would just talk about it for the whole time, but he actually has this conversation with the devil in there. Whether you think it's real or not, for your decision to do it, but it's fascinating, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with the space where the devil occupies really is that negative thinking. It's that thought. And how do you avoid that? How do you avoid that negative thinking is through an F factor, which we're going to talk about at the end, and most importantly, of taking control of your own thinking to avoid negative thoughts in there so they don't corrupt you. And that's part of, I think that's really true no matter what you believe it or not, how it aligns us and how we can grow as an individual. So does that align with your goals and vision in the future? If not, make a change. Right? One of the things you can do, by the way, we'll model. If you're struggling with this, go out and buy a lottery ticket. I don't think you're going to win, probably not, and you shouldn't be buying it to win. You should buy the lottery ticket, and let's say it's $200 million jackpot. And you should go, you know what? All right, if I went out and bought a $200 million lottery ticket and I won, what would I change in my life right now? I actually wrote a whole blog on this if you want to read it, but it's really fascinating because I do this sometimes, maybe every couple months, maybe sometimes even more if I'm struggling with trying to find my identity, which I struggle with this too all the time. You guys understand that. If I'm struggling with something, and I think I need to make a change in my life, I'll go to this route. It's kind of like my default. I'll buy a lottery ticket and say, all right, Adam, you won this. What would you change, dude? Like what it is, what are you going to change? And the reality is I wouldn't change much. My dad actually asked me this. I was not too long ago, a couple days ago actually, and he said, if you had all this money in the world, what would you do with it? And he goes, well, how would you change it? I said, the reality, Dad, I ask myself that question all the time, and the thing is I wouldn't change much of my life. I love what I do. I wouldn't change being on this phone call with you guys. I love pouring into people. I love seeing people transform their lives. There's nothing better than when you're about to take your last breath knowing that you helped transform somebody's life in some fashion by whatever means that you needed to do necessary. And that's part of who I've become as an individual. Money just becomes a tool for that. So if I had the money, it wouldn't change anything except for it's just a bigger tool that I get to give more and create more experiences for people and hire more people faster so I could go build things faster, right? That's the only thing that it would do. It just accelerates who I'm becoming. And that's really what the alignment that you want to have here is if you got all this money, is that in alignment? So is it going to change your life like, hey, I'm just going to quit doing this? And man, you should probably look at what you're doing, right? And it doesn't mean that, look, do we have bad days? Man, yeah. I mean, I had a text string going back with probably some of the top agents in the country a couple of days ago of going, man, is there ever an hour that goes by without major problems? I said, nah, no, it's not. It's because the airspace, when you choose to go live in this world, right, of this different level, and you're choosing to grab this territory to build this business, you're going to be in this rare space where problems show up and they're heavy, right? And so you got to understand is how would you accelerate that with the tool of money, understanding that it's what it becomes. So again, I use that as a tool of does that align with your vision, brand, and legacy to allow you to take more territory, to allow you to build a bigger business. How is that influencing it? So these are just questions to ask yourself so that you can figure out what is that brand that you're looking for and that vision to come in with it as well too. And then again, KW, you guys have all access to this stuff. Develop your mission, vision, values, etc. Keep it very simple. By the way, when people think about their big why too, because it's not really on here, people look, it doesn't have to be this special poem that you read coming up over smoke at a campfire, right? That's not really what it's developed. My why is freedom. Right, and that just gets the hair in my neck sticking up. Like, it just excites me. Freedom excites me, and part of that is freedom spiritually, physically, freedom financially, freedom socially. So you have the ability to go influence through the tools that you have in your life, right? But when you're developing your mission and vision and values, not only do you keep it simple, but are they in alignment with your vision and brand? So if you go to answer the question about the lottery, you got $200 million and you completely change your alignment, then man, you need to go change that alignment now, start taking steps to do that, start putting those things in place, because the reality is none of us are probably going to win the lottery, so you better start making those changes so you're living that life now. And then that becomes your voice, right? That becomes your mission, vision, and values of your voice of who you are becoming. This brand thing that we keep talking about is that. That's what I mean when I'm creating a brand, is what would you do with it, right? When you have this blank canvas, how do you create this vision, this brand, so that you can go share it with the world? But they've got to be in alignment. If you go out there and you write some really cool words down and it sounds awesome, but you don't get behind that, man, it's not going to stick. You see the most powerful conversations, the most powerful companies that transform it, like Steve Jobs put a dent in the universe. Man, he meant that. Elon Musk, right? What he's doing. Man, these guys are living. I'm using big examples and name dropping, but this happens every day, folks. So let's get clear on our vision, our brand, and our legacy. Getting in alignment with this in our organizations is crucial. Hopefully I gave you some models there to really kind of help dig in there to make sure that those things are happening. All right, so these are some things that we've put out there. Again, these are just kind of throughout the last couple of years of just stuff. You can see freedom is not a place, but a state of mind, right? Quality of your life, term by the quality of questions you ask yourself, right? Just different things. I mean, we just always constantly are putting stuff out there that becomes who our voice is, what we're doing, the things we're doing. That picture, by the way, is when I climbed Kilimanjaro. It's kind of an interesting thing to do. So when we're looking at this, right, and we're looking at getting clear on our vision and our brand, and we start asking ourselves, who do we have to become in order to get in alignment with this? So hopefully you can see the theme of our conversation today, and it's really getting clear of it, and then getting in alignment with it, and then putting it into play, right? And then there's the F factor at the end. And so how do you get in alignment with this to ensure that you're having the right relationships in your life? Well, this is a very powerful five life relationship. Now, Gary teaches this in Quantum Leap, and I love this slide. And it's his. He created this, but I think I love to put it in my own little words here. I've heard him do it a bunch of different times, and really here's what I take away from this. And again, you guys can go and teach this to somebody else, teach it to your team, because this is something that's really impactful. So I want you to listen to this as if you're going to go teach it to somebody, even if you teach one part of it. And the first part's the most important, by the way. That's why it starts with number one. And number one is your mentors and role models. So why is this important for your vision and your brand? Because it's getting you in alignment with the things that you need to do in your life. Number one, mentors and role models, right? And who do you have to become in order to attract the talent in your life? That's really, here's the thing. This is really what this is all about. You understand, ladies and gentlemen, that business building is a conduit for our personal growth. The reason why you stepped into the arena is so that you can change who you are. That's the goal, to grow spiritually in life, right? To spread messages, whatever that message is that you think you need to spread, that's the point. Passivity is the root of not getting anywhere or not growing spiritually, right? You can't sit passive. You got to go out there and do these things. So who is it that you have to become to attract the right people, to build the right business, to have the right brand? And part of it, and most importantly, it's going to start with number one, which is mentors and role models. Why? I want you to think about it from this angle. The mentors and role models are the most important people in your life because that's who you become. The people that you are, right, surrounding yourself by are who you become. By the way, how many of you have kids in this call, right? You're listening to this, and you see your kids, and even at the young age of my oldest is 5.5, but I can see who she's becoming by the people she's hanging out with. Right? I can hear their political views coming out to my kid based on what it is because they had that conversation. It's such a thing that happens there. And then when they get, my kids aren't older, but going through my life, you become, as a teenager, you become the people that you are hanging out with. Right? Most of you guys know my story. I hung out with the wrong crowd, and I became those people. You just do. So I want you to ask yourself, and here's the other thing. If you want to make more money, you need to go hang out with people that are making more money. If you take the 5 people that you hang out with the most, plus or minus 5 to 10%, you're probably making the same amount of money they are. It's crazy, by the way. If you do this, you certainly find the anomaly here and there, but most importantly, you see that and you go, well, this is right. This is like the law of like water flowing downhill, right? It's not going to flow uphill. It's the same thing here. You hang out with different people. You're not going to just become somebody different by hanging out with those people. And if you are, it's because you're finding information somewhere else through books or medium or training, and you're bringing it back to them, and they're not changing. Ultimately, you'll end up losing that group, which is top grading. Top grading your friends, people, right? That's how it happens. So mentors and role models, one, financial, business, career, personal, physical, and spiritual. Who are your mentors and role models? And the mentors and role models, by the way, does not need to be people that are alive or currently in your next to you physically. They can be like financially, Warren Buffett, right? Who would we want to listen to more than Warren Buffett? What about business? What about your career? Right? What about your personal life? Who's living the best personal life, right, with their partners and their family, and go model what they're doing. Go hang out with them for a while. Pick their brain. Read their books. Do something in there. Put those models into your life. Who's got the most physical energy that you love? What are they doing? What are they eating? How are they sleeping? What are they happening, right? Put those models into play in your life. These are the things you do to become somebody different. Now, here is the trick to all of this. It's not a trick, actually. That's the wrong word to use. Here's the system for it, is that if you want to become somebody different in your life, you have to change what you're doing. And this is where people go, I'm going to change January 1st, and man, I'm going to get, it's just use physical because it's such an easy one. I'm going to change who I am physically, and I'm going to go lose 30 pounds. It's going to be amazing, and man, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to journal. I'm going to do all these things, and, my 8th beer in, man, I'm going to go out and fly a jet next year. And you wake up the next morning, you're like, I'm going to start tomorrow, right? And then you maybe do it for a week, and you have that honeymoon phase, and all of a sudden you change. Because the problem is you're not willing to change your habits. You're not willing to sacrifice things in order to become somebody different. So if you truly want to change something in your life, you start hanging out with people different, that conversation forces, the activities you do, the level of conversation, everything changes and forces you to become somebody different. And when you think differently, you start acting differently. And then when you're acting differently, you get a different result. Right? You think differently, you act differently, you get a different result, and it becomes this virtuous cycle. And that's how people grow from these things, right? So what are the people you're modeling in all 6 of these categories? Your mentors and role models. Think about that. It's the most important and critical factor in building out who you need to become to attract the talent. And that is and then people can say, well, how do I get into the next level group? And this is not like a high school kind of lottery where you get just chosen. And you've got to go out there and hustle for it. You've got to, what separates people? Hunger. Hunger separates people in this world, right? The physical world that we're in, that's hunger. The hunger for growth. You got to go out there, and when you start doing things that other people won't do, people will take notice. By the way, the group above you or 3 above you takes notice. Like in GE's case, when they went down and got Jack, he was doing things, saying things that other people wouldn't, knowing that he was going to be an outcast, knowing that they were going to go against the grain. But the best people and the smartest people in the world wake up and go, I need that guy in my life because he's willing to push it. I want him. That's what they bring into it. So become that person, and you'll get noticed. You'll get what Gary always calls that tap on the shoulder. And he's not saying personally from him. He's saying in life. You go out there and you keep pointing, it's going to feel like you're doing these things and nobody's paying attention, Well, the people close around you don't pay attention. It's the people that you really want paying attention are the people are paying attention. I promise you, the most successful people in the world are paying attention to those things. They are. That's how they became successful, was giving opportunities to people like you or different things that are doing that. So you got to be looking for that as well, but you've got to first get there yourself. Number one, mentors and role models. By the way, this goes in all aspects of your family too. All right, number two, the person determining wealth for. This is really important. So who are you determining wealth for? As people get caught up with change for number two and number four. Number two is about getting outside yourself. Right? If we know the secret to living is giving, and that money is truly just a financial tool that you have in your life, which is really, it's a Bitcoin, it's a decimal place, right? It's not even person. It's all it is. It's just a tool. You realize that you're not money, and money's never you. You're never going to change who you are because of that. It becomes a tool in your life. So I want you to determine who you're determining wealth for. Is it your church? Is it your family? Is it? I mean, you can have something for you in there, man. I mean, there's a lot of things in this world that you should be enjoying. You should be enjoying the experience of these things. But what are you doing? What are you waking up for to drive it? It's not just going to be for you, because at some point it's going to get too heavy and you're going to go backwards if it's about you. You need the strength from everybody else around you determining wealth for something else to get you there. So who are you determining wealth for? So just get clear on that, right? Remember, this is all designed to say, who am I becoming in this world? Who am I becoming through a business conduit, which gives me the opportunity to change who I become, right? So that's really what you're looking for. Number three is love. And this isn't like, hey, like the type of love that you think about. This is like, how do I share and receive it from your spouse, your kids, right? Your relatives, your friends and coworkers. If you ever notice, one thing that Gary does, or even like John Maxwell or Tony Robbins, you know, you see people, what do? They give big hugs, man. They're sharing that love. Because if you want more of something, you got to give it. And they know that they need their energy to go out there and tackle the problems that they have, so they give more of that. Now, look, I'm not saying you got to go out there and hug everybody. I'm just saying, how do you give it? How do you receive the love? A lot of us are allowing it to come in, allowing us not to come in. But in order to have a wealthy relationship with yourself and the wealth that you're growing, becoming somebody different, this becomes a staple in that. How do you show that? It's also forgiveness, right? It's also empathy or sympathy if you've never walked in their shoes. And these are the things that can't get a hold of you when negativity creeps in. This type of coming from contribution and grace and giving is going to get you out of that, so then you can go out there and build something bigger so you become somebody different faster, right? So number four, who are those top 5 people determining wealth for you, right? And ultimately, if you don't have 5 people in your organization that are employees or agents, then you need to stop and go, all right, who are my top 5 clients? So this is never for people to go, well, I don't have 5 people in my world. You don't need it. Who are your 5 clients? Or is it an investor? Is it somebody who just, you know, sells their house every year and buys a new one? Is it somebody that's got a large family because they're buying condos here and there? Is it a builder, right? Is it a group? Is it a church? Is it, right? Oh, is it an investment firm? So who are your top 5 people? It could just be a client that's a raving fan that refers somebody over to you every week, right? But who are the top 5 people? And the reason is because you pour into them. Those become your silos that you pour into. And ultimately, the goal is to create your 5 people who are in your world that are determining wealth for you. It goes reciprocal. That's why there's 2 arrows back and forth, right? Determining wealth for you and determining wealth for them. Because at some point, you're going to want to pour into your top 5 people. That's about the capacity you're going to have. 3 to 7 people is about going to be a maximum for most people, right? And that's at a high level. So who are the people you're determining wealth for, and who are the people determining wealth for you? You have number 2 is you're determining wealth for somebody up there. And then number 4 is the people are determining wealth for you. Again, I just want you to think of those things, bring awareness to it so you become somebody different to attract the talent. Remember, we're on recruiting and in marketing your vision so you can get better people in your life, the best, you know, you get your Tom Brady so you can build a bigger business and take more territory. Number 5 is basically a byproduct of the 5 people that you have. So if you have 5 people and you're teaching them this, which is why I said take this slide and teach it and listen to this as you're teaching it, right? Whether you listen to this live or have a recording or even take the recording and have people listen to the segment of it and literally talk about who are the next 5 people, right? If you have your 5 and then you ask them, well, who are the 5 that you're pouring into? And again, they may be a director of sales in there, and they say, all right, who are your top 5 salespeople in your organization? If it's a buyer's agent, who are your top 5 clients, right? So if it's an admin, well, who are your top 5 people you're getting into, right? Who's determining wealth for you? So this provides clarity to everyone that's around there so you can really approach it from a wealthy person's 5 relationship. The goal here, the key to take away this is, and I think it's number 1, which is mentors and role models where it starts. In order to become somebody different, you have to act a different way. In order to act a different way, you first have to think a different way. So if you want to understand how somebody thinks, you just see the results. And you can tell how they're acting, and you can tell they're thinking by their actions. And so when you understand that in life, then the first thing you got to change is your thinking. Changing an action without changing the thinking is like watering a leaf expecting the plant to grow. It's just not going to happen, right? That leaf may feel good, it's not going to change. And by the way, it's the same thing if you change your thinking but you don't change your actions, it's like watering a leaf. It's the same thing. I know I use that analogy twice, but that's really what it is. And then if you ultimately water the base of the tree, which is your thinking, and then you align that with your actions, the result is going to come. Maybe not as fast as you want, but it will. That's when your F factor comes into play at the very end. Talk about that. So that's who you have to become in order to attract those things. All right. So part of it is, and what I would challenge you guys on this, is understanding that you only know the highest level of talent based on the best person or the highest level of talent that you currently have in your organization that has physically worked for you. Now, if you've never had anybody work for you, you have no idea what really talent looks like. And I don't mean that in negative. I just mean that, like, you can see somebody in another organization. You can hear or be thrown out the words of talent or non-talent or, emerging or proven and all these things. And you have track records. And you can narrow it down to a pretty decent probability. But ultimately, you will only know the highest level of talent in your life based on the highest level person that's currently working for you. So whether that's a buyer's agent or an admin, you can say, you know what, I just hired just a rock star empire builder person I can't wait to have in my life. They're amazing. And then you instantly go, okay, well, what empire do they build? Well, they haven't built one yet. All right, but they're not an empire builder. They have potential to be. You're not taking anything away from them. You're just not talking to yourself accurately, right? And that's the thing. And we get ourselves into trouble when we do this, because then we start allowing things to slip because we're already making excuses for who they are. So your goal as you grow is to continue to expand your level of thinking, right, so that you attract different people, so then you get a different level of talent in your world, and then all of a sudden you wake up and go, man, that's what it feels like. I guarantee you some of this when I just go over this right now with you, and you're sitting there going, yeah, I've had that happen. From your first person you hire to the people you have in your world now, if you've built a team or even hired people, maybe you go, man, I had this best person, and that's the thing. But then you should ask yourself, well, where does it end, right? And then you go, oh, how do I keep attracting the best people in my life, making sure people in the right places in the bus, and we're pushing everybody forward. And by the way, if you're expanding the people around you, if you get the right people who are willing to grow, they'll grow the same way with you. So then you all of a sudden have a new expectation from the same people, because now they're growing. Doesn't mean you get somebody in there that they can't grow with you. They may even start growing faster than you, and you just got to accelerate that. Put your foot in the gas, couple nails through, boom, you're going, right? That's it. Increase your level of thinking, increase their level of thinking, and everyone grows together. It's a vacuum that continues to grow. And from that, you become somebody different. Your people around you transform their own lives, and then your clients' lives get transformed because you're pouring into them. That's how you become somebody different to attract the people that you want to do. And again, you may be the person that has to grow the most. Here's the thing. I was just reading this, and I was just listening to an Audible this morning, and I literally heard this again and again, and it just keeps showing up. And it was that we get into our own way. I really, and I heard that a bunch. I'm really thinking that more and more as I continue to grow as a leader myself, that I think I get my team's way. I actually think I get more in the way than I realize I do. Because you're kind of like, oh, I'm the team leader, I'm the CEO, I've got all this stuff. I'm the, you don't have the best ideas, but you want to control the situation. But sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm just getting in my own way. And I think that's the thing. That's what Gary tells me all the time. You're still getting in your own way. And he goes, I'm still getting in my own way. I'm going, if it doesn't end with you, then we need to all put that into place. I think you should be aware of that. All right. So here's an example, by the way, of some words that we use, that how we attract people to our vision and our mission here. So you should understand that, right? And so here are some of the things that we said, look, we want people to hear our voice, and we want people to go, I would never work for that guy. And I want people to go, man, how do I work for him? I'll do anything it is to get in that organization or work for somebody in our organization. So you can see this. We don't follow rules, we create them. Right off the bat, right? We don't follow rules, we create them. We are leaders. We value personal and professional growth. We accept challenges, set goals, and exceed them. We refuse to stay in mediocrity and instead choose to live purposeful lives without limits. We believe that there's always a way, and we never give up. We work hard. We play even harder. We are the company of the future. Our mission is to transform lives through home ownership. There's always a way, so what's your move? And that should scare people, right? Somebody should literally listen to that and go, you know, that's got nothing to do with me. And somebody should read that and go, literally, that's everything. And that's that voice. That's your brand. That's your marketing. This becomes you. How do you attract talent to your vision and mission? First, getting clear on your vision and mission, which we've talked about. Now it's using the words that are going to correlate and align with who you are and the organization that you continue to build out here. So it's really important that we remember these things, that we're doing this when you go through there. All right, so where do you find talent? Because you're going to, like the model systems, where do you actually find the talent? So let me tell you some things that are working well for us on this is online job boards and ZipRecruiters, Craigslist, Indeed, Glassdoor, Centric, social media posts and branding. By the way, that's a big one. We've gotten a lot of, we raised capital for some of our other projects, and we've gotten a lot of capital raises just from the awards that we've been receiving. So part of it is how do you apply for the rewards in your area, right? They go, man, you guys are getting so many amazing rewards. How do I put money with you guys? Right? How do we come work for you guys? Remember, it's not coming from ego if it's true. What's coming from ego is when you like, hey, it's January of 2018. You're like, we're on track to do 500 million. I mean, dude, it's been a month. Come on. But that's a little puffery. But when something's true, like, hey, we netted $40,000 last month, or we netted $40,000 over the weekend, and we put 15 homes in our contractor, right? I mean, we just did the math, and we have a leadership meeting going on here for HRG. We help a consumer every 6 hours right now. I mean, that's a real number and something I'm proud about. Then it's like, how do you 6 hours? How do you help 6 consumers an hour, and then 6 consumers a day? Think about it from a dairy standpoint. So it's okay to post that stuff as long as it's true there, right? What are your referrals, your recruiters, LinkedIn, allied resources? By the way, the #1 best place to attract talent is to teach and train. And here is the coolest thing. We have the opportunity through our market centers to literally do this every day. I mean, you could, but you don't need to. But literally a couple times a month, come in there and you literally are recruiting talent, training talent, helping pour into other people, get your team there. So you're doing it all in one. You're teaching the market center. People are hearing you. By the way, when you go spend a day with somebody, or even a couple hours, they get a pretty good idea of who you are, aren't they? Especially if you're real. You're real and vulnerable. Some people are going to love that. Some people aren't. And then you start developing your theme and your voice, and you attach that. So the thing that I would do is, in addition to gaining clarity, right? We talked about, to really market and recruit to your vision, right? And building this, you have to first get clear on it, which we talked about in those 8 steps. And once you get there, then go teach that. Go teach something and weave that into play. Listen to your language, right? Everyone has, Tony Robbins to Gary Vee to Gary Keller to John Davis to Steve Jobs, all of those individuals had different ways of correlating and projecting their voice, but they did it through teaching and training, right? Some people write books, some people write a blog, some people are video people, right? Some people want to do social media everywhere, do live feed. Figure out what it is for you that you want to do and make sure you're teaching and training constantly. You can do this everywhere, right? And remember this, talent is there. Talent is out there. They're employed kicking ass somewhere. They're not waiting around for you. You've got to go find them, right? You've got to find them. Here's the other interesting thing, is you don't realize how talent is constantly watching, right? So we've made some key hires over the last couple months, and one of the things that we found out was these people have been following our organization for years. So again, people are watching, they're paying attention, finally the right job opens up, or they get frustrated somewhere and they reach back out. Hey, hey, I've been following you for a while. So just don't underestimate the power of that, right? So ABR, right? Always be recruiting. Share your vision with everyone you meet, right? And ask who they know who might want to be part of it. Share who you are looking for. Share your organization's culture, organization's success, and your fail forwards. Again, I love to share our fail forwards because it makes us seem real. It shows you who we are, right? Behind the scenes, what it looks like, what is this? We're not afraid to share that information because we know we're confident in ourselves of who we're becoming, right? Share these things. Again, when they're true, share them. Make sure that you're sharing all the information that's around there so that you constantly can be doing these things, right? But share your vision as much as you can with your family members. Here's the thing. Some people go, well, I don't want to be bothering somebody with that. Well, look, all you're doing is you're sharing that with them because you're trying to help somebody. They're either going to like it or they're just going to dismiss it anyways, right? And so if they like it, they may even share the parent or, look, we're coming up to the holidays. Here's the cool thing. You know, how many people are going to holidays going, man, I got to go Thanksgiving. My uncle's going to show up there, and man, the guy is just dry. I don't know what he's doing. You know, pick their brain, get in the curiosity, and then share your vision to people. And they may go back out there, and literally they may go, you know what, I was talking to my nephew, and he's doing really cool things. You may want to give him a call. And that can be the difference between the new person that comes into your world. But you've got to be sharing this. You don't know who is going to attract it. Grant Cardone is big on this, and if you haven't listened to his stuff, he's got some pretty good stuff out there. He's a little eccentric, but I like that. He's literally like, you know what, I've done like 8,000 podcasts. And he goes, I have no idea who's going to listen to it, but it is. We actually got on an interview for a magazine because of, and potentially on the front cover of a New England wine magazine, because of a podcast that I did with this guy, Positive Phil, and she went out there and researched and she listened to it and she was all excited about it. I don't know when it happened from that, but I mean, literally, she was like, now became a fan of that because she went and researched that and happened to be out there. When I did it, I had no idea who was going to listen to it. You don't either. Just go out there and share your vision, share your story, share your organization's fail forwards, but always be recruiting them that, right? So you can see kind of what some things that we use of what we're doing, that we're constantly getting out there in our collateral and our media, and those things that are happening for there. Here is the other thing. How many people have been held hostage from your employees or your agents, right? Here's what happens. When we start feeling, when we don't have a bench and we're held hostage, this is the worst feeling. It's like walking on eggshells or eggs, whichever one you would like to picture in their mind there. But this is when you become hostage from your employees, you're unwilling to have the tough conversations with them, and you start allowing a lot of things and mediocre in your life. And then, by the way, any talent that you have, because you're unwilling to have conversations with other people, they start looking for a job. And then you become a recruiting ground for this. Because you don't really, they should have a conversation with them, but you don't have anybody else on the bench, so you don't do it, and you allow and you accept mediocrity in your life. Remember this, write this down, nobody has the right to dumb your life up. Nobody does. And that's not a bad thing, that's not a negative thing, it's just you're going out there and doing something, nobody has the right to dumb your life up. And sometimes when we have to go out there and have those hard conversations, and sure, do they leave sometimes? Yes, they do. But you know what? When you're forced to do that, then you go, okay, I better get my ass in gear and go out there and find some more people, and you get better people. It always becomes better, right? And you have to, and we'll get to the F factor because it comes in a lot of this afterwards, but don't be held hostage by your employees. Build your bench. It would be interesting, right, if football, right, and in football, if you had Tom Brady, who is an incredible quarterback, who I don't even like the Patriots, but he's an incredible quarterback. And if all of a sudden he started throwing interceptions, started going downhill, I mean, this isn't like, 3 days he's out, but like 3 weeks or 4 weeks in a row, 5 weeks in a row, he starts doing this. The fans boo him. He's out of there. He's gone. The only reason why they can move him is because they have 5 other quarterbacks dying to get in there, playing their ball on their bench at all times. In fact, Tom Brady came in off the bench from Drew Bledsoe getting hurt. Right? He was there. He was on the bench. So the reason why we don't make tough decisions is purely because we don't have a bench, right? And when you don't have a bench, we are unwilling to have the tough conversations. Let me tell you, your life will change the minute you start having tough conversations. You no longer that fear of walking on eggshells take over your thinking. So go out there, build your bench, continue to have that, knowing that if, hey, you have a tough conversation and somebody's out there, you've got 3 other people that are there. We teach this in CV, but very few people actually practice it. I get it. It's hard. It's long. You're doing everything else. All these things are showing up in your life, but build your bench constantly. And by the way, your people, when you hire somebody, you should be asking them the same thing. Who's on your bench? We asked, our leadership sends 5 questions in. I think I've gone over this before. The first question is, what success did you have today? And they emailed this. People that report to me email to me, and then everyone else reports to everyone else that email to them. It's, what success did you have today? What failures did you have today? What failures did you have today? how did you overcome those failures or struggles, right, the word. And then 4 is on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing, where you're at. And I don't care, just be honest with me, because I can only help you if you're honest with me, and the rating. And then number 5 is who's your replacement. And part of that is who your replacement is. The reason why that's on there is because if you want to grow in my world, you want an opportunity, I'm not going to hire your replacement, but you better have your replacement, because you don't know when that task's going to come. You don't know when the opportunity is going to come. Frankly, I might not even know when that opportunity is going to come, but all of a sudden you're going along, and everything looks good, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, we need this person. Like, who's going to do it? And you're like, I'm going to do it. And like, great, who's your replacement? And you're like, oh, I don't have anybody. Now all of a sudden you're 90 days behind the ball. So you should always, every person in the organization should be building that bench constantly. It's one of the most important things that we need to do in our lives, to constantly building that, right? And, here's the thing, one of our things for HRG is, where CEOs are made, and you can find your own kind of your factor there. But your default, right, should be, why wouldn't someone want to join my organization? No one's off limits. Most of us are walking around going, that person would never want to join me. Why would that person want to join me? Why would anyone want to do this? Why would I want to do this? Why would I give up that? We're constantly already taking away the possibilities before they even happen. How many people do that? You see somebody, then all of a sudden what you do is, like 6 months later, you see Joe, who you're thinking was so off limits because he was the owner's son, and go join another team. You're like, well, how'd that happen? And you go up to him and go, I just asked him. You're like, what? Man, I'd love to have that guy on my team. Why didn't you ever tell me? So your default, the way you think, changes your actions, changes your results. Your thinking should always be that you walk in there and no one, you didn't figure out how to hire Gary Keller. You may have missed him, but you may, but how do you hire? That's the thinking you should have. By the way, when you're building these things, when you walk into a restaurant, you should be going, all right, you shouldn't be walking in there going, who wants to buy or sell a home? You should be walking in there going, who should I hire in here? It's the same thing when it becomes this game. You shift to the left side of the triangle, that leverage side, the right side that we never talk about. When you get there, you're building your brand, you're building your vision out and your mission out there. I need you guys to have the default of, why wouldn't someone want to join my organization? Write this down, put it everywhere as you need to, because I guarantee most of you people are just missing somebody that's right next to you. And most of the time when we start asking different questions or thinking differently, the people show up. How many has that happen, right? All of a sudden you're thinking a certain way, and all of a sudden you change your thinking, and all of a sudden the person is right there, and you're like, man, they've been there the whole time. It's because of course they have, right? You just didn't change the way you were thinking or looking at something, and then as soon as you did, it's clear as day. They've always been there. By the way, our answers that we're looking for are right in front of us, and we already actually have the answers to them. We just got to uncover them. We got to polish them off to see if we already know all the answers to all your questions. You just got to find a way to tap into that. That's a really cool thing. And finally, the thing is that you have to remember is that when you're building and taking territory, right, when you're building an organization, when you are building a brand, this kind of encompasses the whole course, right? When you're taking a step out from the stands to go in the arena, when you are deciding to stand for your voice, when you're putting your marketing out there, when you're putting your collateral out there, and you know that 50% of the people may hate it, right? That's okay, and you're getting out there. It's going to feel heavy. There's going to be a lot of challenges. There's going to be a lot of problems. Remember, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions we ask, and it's also determined by the quality of problems that we have. Right? The bigger questions, the bigger problems we should have, but the better quality problems we should have. Wow, I have 10,000 people on a call. I got a new software for it. So when you're thinking about this, there's a factor, if you will, that we all need to employ, because if we don't, we're going to get real heavy with this, and we're not going to have all the answers. And one of the things, if you read and study, like I study business like people study sports. I just love it, right? And I love hearing what people did. I love reading autobiographies of people, and I love hearing stories because you hear the same challenges. They're just in different verticals. It's the same money. It's people. It's money. It's people. It's money. It's systems. It's economic. It's this. It's that. It's the same problems, guys, show up. It doesn't matter what business you're in. It's like, oh, the grass is greener, but the water bill is more over there, right? So people change these things, thinking that they're trying to escape from problems, but they can't. So there's something we put into our lives, and that's the F factor, and that's faith. If you can put faith in there, right, that we put faith into God or into some sort of being or something that creates our heartbeat to keep going, a couple hundred times throughout this class, right? I mean, just from today. We trust that our bodies continue to move on every single day, and we have that faith. We need to put that into our businesses. Otherwise, we're consumed with fear. If we stop and go down the rat hole, the spiral hole of all the things that could happen when you start getting to a level, if they didn't go happen right, yeah, it's overwhelming, right? It gets overwhelming to the point where you're unable to make a decision because it's like, oh my God, if I make it wrong when all this happens, it's so heavy and weight on there. How you make peace with that is knowing that every decision you make is exactly the decision you need to make based on who you are and where you are right now. And part of that is relying on that faith when you're building a big organization. When you're taking territory, when you're adding people in your life, there's going to be a lot of mistakes. There's going to be challenges, and you have to have faith throughout the process that you will ultimately become the person you need to become through business as that conduit. And the faith factor, right, write that down, have that next to you, is going to be relied upon through some of these decisions because that's the only decision you're going to be able to go on is having that faith in there. So when things get really challenging, and they will, it's those whiffy-o moments, right? It's we're fucked, it's over. Every CEO, every owner, every leader has them. When those things start happening and you can't see it, trust in the fact that you have that faith. And write that down. That's your F factor. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for allowing me to serve you guys over the last 6 weeks. I'm super excited to be able to do this. Love to hear your feedback, but love to keep in touch with all you guys. Please keep emailing me stuff that we do. We love seeing it. Love hearing how we've transformed your lives. It makes my day. So please let me know, some of the things that we've done and what you really liked. And I appreciate all you guys. Have a wonderful holiday, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.